Bookworms, have you ever read a book that you thoroughly enjoyed and then on the last page, in the last paragraph of the story, something happens and you're like, give me the sequel now? That is what has happened with the book that I have just read, Bookworms. Welcome to the Weekend Readers Book Club. Thank you for joining us. We are here today to discuss I'm going to call it, crime, thriller, suspense novel entitled Dark Mode by Ashley Kalagian Blunt. Now, Dark Mode by Ashley Kalagian Blunt, the story revolves around our main character Regan, and she doesn't live her life online. So she has no social media presence, no electronic apps on her phone. She still uses the old school stuff. However, one day she comes across a murder and the victim looks exactly like her. Weirded out by the murder of the female that looks like her, Regan gets a little paranoid in the story, and past trauma comes up, and we follow her throughout the story trying to save her business, find new love, but also deal with the trauma of her past, and also the fact that people looking like her are sort of being killed. In addition to that, throw in a best mate who learns what's gone on in the past and tries to put two and two together based on what's currently happening, and Regan herself trying to learn, I'm going to say real world life lessons, but life lessons where she now has to use electronic means like the internet and apps on her phone, etc. This book is, as I said, crime, thriller, psychological story. So, I've just finished the book, and these are my thoughts in relation to Dark Mode by Ashley Kalagian Blunt. Now, the book has got a lot of realism to it, but I'd like to say I found it also a bit batshit crazy. However, I guess if I was in the main character's position, it's not too far-fetched to be going through the emotion and the roller coaster that Regan experiences in this book in relation to real life. Ashley Blunt puts you right in the thick of things in relation to the main character on what she's experiencing, feeling, and going through, and it is pretty unique and like real life aspects of the story to it. This book also has a stalker in it. That's one of the issues she's working through from her past. She has a stalker when she's younger, potentially stalker maybe back in real life. I enjoyed the stalker side of things. I won't spoil how all the stalker stuff plays out. All I will say is it was very well written, and it was great because it just kept me entertained. So chapter by chapter, you slowly learn different things about Regan, her past, her current position, and you think you're on one path, but potentially there's 20 other different paths that you could be on because every chapter is something new, which I found very enjoyable because it kept me interested. With the book slowly giving you piece by piece to the story and you learning something new, say every chapter, it does mean that a lot of the emotional stuff and the realism of what Regan is going through, i.e. that you could foresee that could happen in real life, does hit you in waves, which is awesome because again, it allows the story to breathe. It's not all going at 100%. However, like Regan is the main character, her best mate, her best mate's husband, they all, Regan's boyfriend, they all intertwine and play their part quite well. It was a really enjoyable story where I found once you get started with the book, I was finding I couldn't put it down. And I think that comes back to the fact that little bits and pieces of new information about Regan, what she's been through, what she's currently going through, slowly released to you as you read along. So it makes it enjoyable overall. Now, one thing I hated about the book is the ending. The last page, the last paragraph. I hate the ending so much because I love it and I want the goddamn sequel. How the book ends blew me away. Didn't see it coming. Thought I had an idea where it was going. But then when we got to the final part, I was like, never saw that happening. But the last page, last paragraph, goddamn. You've got me hook, line and sinker, Ashley Kalagian Blunt, because I want the sequel to Dark Mode. I want to know what happens next. I did not see the way it ended, i.e. the last page and the last paragraph. I didn't even see that coming from out of nowhere. And it ties into the whole story, and you're like, oh shit. There is something bigger at play here. Bring it to me. I want to read it. Overall, though, there was nothing I didn't like about this book. I absolutely loved it. And the story that Ashley Kalagian Blunt portrayed and wrote and delivered in Dark Mode, it was amazing. From first chapter onwards, it was great. You're thrown into it. You pick up pieces as you go along, and the story makes sense. And as I said, it has got a lot of realism to it. You can foresee this story happening in real life, i.e. on your 6 o'clock, your 5 o'clock, your 7 o'clock, your 10 o'clock news. You can see this story playing out. It's wow, just wow. So with that being said, will Dark Mode by Ashley Kalagian Blunt be making my bookshelf? Hell yes. This book is amazing. I know I read State of Terror and I also read A Flicker in the Dark that has made my bookshelf so far this year. I'm probably going to say this is my favorite book that I've read so far this year that has made my bookshelf. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, hats off to Ashley Kalagian Blunt for Dark Mode. As it customs here at the Weekend Readers Book Club, as one book closes, another book has to open, and it is now time to find out what the Weekend Readers the next read is. And Bookworms, we can confirm the next read is Pay It Forward by Catherine Ryan Hyde. Now, the only thing I know about this book, two things. One, it's a movie, never seen the movie. Two, I think it's about doing good deeds. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm intrigued by it, managed to pick it up at a book fair, and I'm like, yeah, we'll give it a whirl. So Pay It Forward, Catherine Ryan Hyde, you are the next read for the Weekend Readers Book Club. So Bookworms, that's my discussion and conversation about Dark Mode by Ashley Kalagian Blunt, a book I really enjoyed, a book that has made my bookshelf, and I would say if you like crime, psychological thrillers with a lot of realism to it, this may be a book you may want to, go out and find and have a read of. Really, really thoroughly enjoyed this. So with that being said, you can feel free to follow us on all our platforms. Goodreads, Instagram, Weekend Readers Book Club, podcast providers, and YouTube. You can find us on The Weekend Readers. Until next time, thank you again for joining us. And Bookworms, happy reading.